Good morning, lovely. ZoëTwoDots here with some more Pokemon Go goodness for you. And today, we've got that live stream set up, look, but we are going to do a bit of a guide. We're doing a checklist, what we need, do not forget for Pokemon Go Fest 2018. This is my must-haves, do not forget, checklist, things that you have to have sorted out before Go Fest weekend. So there's a few things in here when we were going through the FAQs and for the what to bring, what not to bring, when we were first buying these tickets, that actually was kind of surprising. And there's a few things that you might not actually know are restricted or not allowed into Go Fest. A few items that people would definitely have with them at all times are not allowed into Go Fest. So we'll get to that in a second. Do stay tuned and keep your peepers out for these top tips and what to bring, what not to bring to Go Fest 2018. If you are new as well, be sure to subscribe for weekly Pokemon Go good stuff. My schedule's all over the shop, and I admit to that freely, I apologize. But always have some Pokemon Go good stuff going on here, some live streams, all that kind of stuff, and a new weekly news show to keep you guys up to date with everything happening week by week. So hit subscribe, hit like if this is useful for you, and let's get into it. So, firstly, here's the homepage. This is kind of where we've got most of the information, but I'm sure a lot of people haven't actually been back to look at the Go Fest page in a while. So, I mean, it's sold out. We already know that, unfortunately. Know all this. We don't need to go through what Go Fest is and what's happening for the day, but what we want to go to is the FAQs, where there was some sneaky extra information hiding that you may not know about. So, in terms of parking directions, we can find all this information here. So if you guys, you'll know if you have a north or south ticket, here's all the information for that. Not quite getting into that. This is more of a checklist of what to bring. But I suppose in terms of being prepared, make sure you know which entrance you need to be at, because you can't get into the, if you got a ticket for south, you have to go in through the south entrance. So it's obviously going to be a massive stuff around or a big walk to start off your day with if you go to the wrong entrance. So make sure you're planning your transport accurately about which part you need to get to. So for me, I will need to go to the south entrance, but because I'm an international traveller, I need to pick up my tickets from the will call booth, which I've never heard that term before. It must be an American term. I don't know. I've never had to do it, so I don't know, maybe it's universal. But I'll need to pick up my tickets from the north entrance where the will call booth is, I'm fairly certain. And then make my way to the south entrance. So rip for me, but anyway. And don't quote me on this, I can't recall where I read that the will call booth was at the north. Maybe, okay, just don't quote me on that. I remember reading it somewhere and being like, oh my god, that's going to be a massive walk, but I can't actually see it on here now for the will call booth. Cool, where is it? Where is it, guys? Where is it? Anyway, scrolling on. Important notice, guys, don't be a tosser. Don't chuck your rubbish in the park. That's just let's just not even start the day with doing that. But also a helpful tip. Entry and exit re-entry policy is really awesome. You can re-enter the festival throughout the day. So if you've got a ticket holder, you are able to enter and exit the park, which is really, really good. That's awesome. You know, if you run out of water, or if you run out of snacks, or if you want to go grab lunch, that is an awesome feature that you can actually leave, go do stuff and come back if you need. But here is the stuff we needed to get to. The allowed and prohibited items. So this one is major. This is the first, the main thing that people probably do not realize if they haven't read this list is clear backpacks. The following items are allowed: clear backpacks. The following items are prohibited backpacks that are not clear. You will need to have a clear backpack for Go Fest. When I read this, I was like, oh, dude, I would, if I wasn't an international traveller, I probably would not have read this list, to be honest. I just read it because I was like, oh, you know, if I need to get something, I need to get it before I leave the country. So, oh, that's pretty massive. I don't own a clear backpack. I don't know if it's common or popular in the States to have and own clear backpacks if they're readily available. The only kind of clear backpacks that are here in Australia are kind of like those trendy, small, little, see-through your handbag kind of clear bags. So I'm going to need to order one. I've currently had a bit of a scroll through on Amazon, and there's quite a price difference in clear backpacks. So tiny stuff like this that's $15, but bright pink, and then stuff like this that is a bigger size, these two here, but clearly a massive price difference. So yeah, I'm going to need to secure myself one of those ASAP, because it does pretty clearly, first item prohibited, backpacks that are not clear. Allowed, clear backpacks. So school size standard backpacks only. That's massive, guys. That is massive. Please, please, please make sure that you follow these rules. I can't imagine how frustrating it would be to get to the front gate for Go Fest. You're there at like 9, 10 a.m. ready to rock and roll, and you have got all your stuff packed into your regular backpack, and you get the, sorry, you can't take that in here. What are you going to do? Do you take your backpack back to your car and put all your stuff in a plastic bag? Do you like lug around a Coles shopping bag for the entire day? Like, I don't know. And I really want them to like tweet this one rule out specifically. Like, Niantic should be tweeting this out now. Like, hi guys, if you're coming to Go Fest, you must have a clear backpack, because that's pretty massive. To me anyway, that's a pretty massive and specific thing. So please guys, order your clear backpack. Buy yourself a cheap, comfortable clear backpack now so that you've got it in time. But anyway, other items that are allowed, binoculars, which is really specific. I don't know what we need to hunt for with binoculars, but you're allowed. Blankets, towels, and sheets. This is awesome if you want to have like a little, if there is, I mean, the park is quite large, but I have never been to this park. I've never been to the States, so it does look like quite a large park. So this is pretty awesome if it's actually spots or shaded areas to like set up a little picnic or have a sit down and things like that, because you're not allowed to bring in camping chairs. That's a bit further down, but you can't actually bring in chairs, camping chairs, things like that, because they are a hazard. They do block walkways and things like that, and stuff that gets in the way. But you are allowed to bring blankets, sheets, and towels. So definitely, if one person wants to be the rep for their group, bring a light blanket or a towel or something to sit on if you want to take a break and sit down and chill out. Cameras are allowed, basic. GoPro cameras are allowed. Pretty much anything that is up to like a DSLR, like a anything that is something from this grade of DSLR camera, you know, lens kit, all that kind of jazz, all the way down to compact DSLRs and your phone even. Those are all acceptable and consumer grade levels of camera. This is fine. A lot of people have been like, oh no, I can't be able to bring my camera in. This is a consumer grade camera. This is perfectly fine to bring into Go Fest. I believe from this and from other information from Niantic, kind of professional grade cameras are things like the I am from the news and I'm here to film this news event. That's the kind of thing that isn't considered the basic point and shoot or consumer grade cameras. DSLRs, SLRs, consumer grade, you're fine. Also important, sealed sunscreen. Holy moly, guys. I'm an absolute fiend for the sun. I love the sun. Australia summer is my life. I love being warm. I don't like being burnt. I'm all about that sun protection. Please, 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 sunscreen. Reapply every 2 hours. If if you know you're gonna burn, reapply every hour. Doesn't matter if you're gonna take 2 minutes to just take 2 minutes to protect your skin, protect your neck. You don't want to be getting burnt and dehydrated and having a bad time and going home sick from Go Fest. You can also bring in empty hydration packs and water bottles. So BYO, water bottle, maximum size 32 ounces. What is that into 1 litre bottle? Okay, so 36 ounces or a 1 litre bottle, which isn't bad. 1 litre is a good size bottle. That's what I was going to suggest, to bring a 1 litre bottle. You can refill it. There will apparently be hydration and refill stations around the park. So take your 1 litre bottle with you. So it says down here as well, water, you may bring factory sealed bottles of water. So don't crack that bottle before you enter the gate. Bring your 1 litre sealed bottle of water. Drink that thing because it's apparently going to be hot on Go Fest day, and then you can refill in the park as well. Pre-packaged food as well, so make sure you bring in something that's pre-packaged. I don't know what the restriction would be on like sandwiches that you made at home, but I would opt for the packet food. Bring some snacks that keep yourself nourished throughout the day. Umbrellas as well in case it's going to rain, and strollers for the young'uns are fine. In the prohibited section, we have a lot of the usual suspects. No cigarettes, no vapes, no aerosol containers, professional audio and video equipment. Once again, DSLR is not considered professional. Keep an eye out as well, no selfie sticks, no monopods, tripods, GoPro mounts or attachments, other commercial equipment. Do not bring this stuff in, guys. I don't want them to get confiscated or things like that, or have to go back to the car or leave the line to go and put that back. That would be so annoying. No drones, YouTubers, no crashing your drones into people that are hanging around. No hammocks, because why are you bringing a hammock? Why are you bringing a hammock at all? No glass, please don't bring glass. No weapons or explosives. kind of an obvious one, but we got to say it. Drugs, alcohol, all that jazz. You guys can read through this list, but mostly all of these things that are unauthorized are pretty much the usual suspects of things that you shouldn't bring to anywhere, really. Yeah, please don't bring your weapons. Don't bring your illicit substances. But the main one, again, that I really need to emphasize is the backpacks. You need a clear backpack, which is wild. So go scope it out. Go grab yourself a decent backpack that is clear. Get yourself in. Okay, now outside of this list, I have a couple of top tips of things to bring. So I know there'll be a lot of international travelers and things like that. People maybe that aren't familiar with the weather or the type of area. And then also a lot of interstate travelers as well. So I know I haven't been to Chicago myself. I can only speak from what you guys have told me and experience last year, which was that it was hot and humid. So in terms of the temperature hotness, compared to what it is in Australia, in Newcastle for summer, the hotness that you described was probably a nice summer's day if you're an Australian, but the humidity was the main thing that you guys were emphasizing. It wasn't that it was necessarily an obscenely hot temperature-wise day, just that the 90%, 95% humidity was what was wiping people out. It was an absolutely exhausting day. So that's a big one, guys. So bring in those sealed water bottles. I would also recommend, I'm sure this will probably come under sealed water, but if you can bring it in as well, something like a rehydration drink or like a Pocari Sweat, like the Japanese Pocari Sweat drink. This thing is an absolute lifesaver on humid days. The electrolytes, incredible in this thing. Plus, it's not stupidly sweet like Gatorade or Powerade. Those things do nothing for me. It's just like sugar water. Pocari Sweat, awesome. Mostly water and electrolytes. Really, really good, especially for humid days because you will get it and that will like your electrolytes. I'm sure you can grab them. I don't know where you would get them in the States because I've never been, but I'm sure Asian groceries and stuff like that, they're a pretty popular drink. And so fingers crossed, I'm going to hope to pick up some of those while I'm in the States. Bring your sealed water, bring your Pocari Sweat, maybe bring one of each just in case you can't bring in both, then you can eat one out. But that's what I would recommend, or at least stocking up before you start the day. Have a nice one of those. If not, I'm pretty sure you can get powdered electrolyte mixes, so that would be a sealed prepackaged food, which I would say would be allowed according to this guide. So if you can bring in a powdered electrolyte as well to mix your water, aces. Snacks, you're going to want to bring a decent amount of snacks. I don't know what the setup is for. I know you can leave the event to go get lunch and come back, that kind of thing, because it does say you can leave and come back in, but anything can happen. There will be food vans apparently in the park as well, but if you've got special dietary requirements or if you just want to be able to like go on without having to stop too much, bring some muesli bars, bring some easy snacks. Try not to load up on junk food because that will kind of tire you out earlier. Bring something that can sustain you for a good chunk of the day, like mixed nuts and things like that, something that will give you a good bit of energy to keep going throughout the entire day. It's a massive day and it's going to be hot. It's going to be a lot of walking, so make sure you're fully stocked for water and food. Next up is battery packs. Bring your battery packs. This is an obvious one, guys. You've all been doing it for community day. Bring your fully charged battery packs, as many as you own, I'm sure is reasonable, and bring a spare cable. You might only like charge your phone from one cable, but bring a spare one. It always sucks if it's damaged on your cable, or if a friend loses theirs, or friend's is damaged, or even if just a stranger is out of juice, they don't have a cord and they just need a little top up. Be that awesome person that can lend a cord and help someone charge up their phone, because that would be so frustrating to have your phone run out of charge as well. So be that hero. Bring a spare cable for someone. A pretty clear one, you are allowed to bring in here as well medication. It does say on here like no drugs or illicit substances, blah, 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 blah. But if it is your medical medication, like you need this to live, don't leave it at home. Don't leave it at home just because it says on here like, oh no, I can't bring in the medication paraphernalia. You can bring in your personal medication for whatever your condition is. If you're a diabetic or if you're epileptic or whatever, bring your stuff with you. I'm sure that's like a no-brainer for anyone who does have those conditions and things like that, but those kind of things are allowed. As was mentioned before, sealed sunscreen. Don't have an open one because, I mean, if you've ever been to a festival, people open up sunscreen bottles and fill it with alcohol, all that kind of jazz to try and smuggle stuff into events. So if it's unsealed, they'll probably make you chuck it out. Make sure you've got a fresh bottle of sunscreen. And also, it's not mentioned on here as whether it's a yes or a no, but I would suggest bringing like baby wipes or hand wipes. So I don't know how hand sanitizer would go down because that is liquid. People are obviously dodgy with that kind of stuff, trying to bring alcohol into festivals, sanitizer things. So probably baby wipes or hand wipes would be the best way to go. But you don't want a sunscreeny phone. You don't want, like, if we're out in the wilderness, we're out in the park all day. You're going to be touching all kinds of stuff that other people have been touching. You're going to be picking stuff up off the ground if you drop your things. You're going to be reapplying sunscreen. So keep your hands nice and fresh. Give yourself a little nice little hand wipes to keep the sunscreen off your hands. Also, if it's going to be that kind of a sweaty day and we're not allowed to have aerosols, that means no deodorant, guys, that is aerosolized. We're going to get a little bit sweaty. So there is nothing better than a fresh baby wipe to just kind of get rid of that sweat every couple of hours, make yourself feel a bit fresher, refresh. And maybe a roll-on deodorant is not the worst idea as well. You can't bring aerosols in, but bring that sweet little roll-on deodorant because holy moly, we're going to be storm for walking around for like 1,000 hours in the sun. So baby wipes and roll-on, definitely a go-to. Second last thing I would suggest is bringing a hat. I mean, I look pretty terrible in hats. I'll be the first person to do that, but you don't want to get nuked. Like, the worst thing is getting nuked by the sun and just having this like red, getting burnt in the part of your hair. Any of that kind of stuff just gives you the worst headache. You feel terrible for days if you get heat stroke or sunstroke. That get really bad sunburns. Bring a hat, whack it on. We're all going to look bad in hats together. And then lastly, this is kind of like an optional one, but I probably will do it. Bring a spare shirt. So once again, if we're walking around and if it is as humid as what you guys were saying it was last year, sometimes there's just nothing better than grabbing one of those baby wipes, getting rid of the sweat, and just changing into a fresh shirt with like a few hours left to go in the event and you're already feeling like sweaty and disgusting. Sometimes just a quick little change of t-shirt feels amazing. So that would be my last suggestion, guys. It's an optional one. Just bring in a light, like cottony t-shirt, something really light and easy you can swap into if you get desperate. Just that if. I mean, you can always leave it in the car or things like that because you can leave the event, come back into the event, go and get changed and things like that. So that would be my suggestion. So those are my suggestions for things to bring. The main one being, please, again, I probably sound so annoying saying this again, but clear backpacks. I just wouldn't risk rocking up with a regular backpack. I don't know what will happen. Then again, the whole, oh, but I want to bring this in, my stuff's in here. You're having this conversation with the staff. It's going to cause massive delays in the line. We can be as efficient as possible, have our stuff packed right from the get-go. It's going to make it a lot easier to get everyone in smoothly into GO Fest. So clear backpack and all the other things that I suggested there are of course optional, but I would say a pretty decent suggestion. You want to be having the best time that you can be having as well, not having to leave or having to stop playing to trivial things like, oh, I didn't bring a water bottle. Like, make sure you're prepared for the day. Let me know as well, guys, what are your suggestions? Any other easy suggestions, things that are little tips and little lifesavers? Please leave them down in the comments down below. What do you think is a must-have, an absolute must-have that people shouldn't forget to bring? And if you live in Chicago, if you've been to Chicago before, what are your tips for the weather that we should be expecting? Middle of July, so middle of summer. I don't really have a reference for my own self being the USA. So if you have some tips for how to deal with the heat in Chicago or what you can compare it to around the world if you've traveled as well, leave that down in the description as well. And let's share some ideas and keep everyone informed so we can have the best possible GO Fest. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning, noon, night, whatever time it is for you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.